Hello, 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 hello. Sorry, just realized that this fan hasn't turned off. It is a bit of a shaky start, but nonetheless, it is a start. Welcome back to the Varietal Show. If you've never been here before, come on. There we go. If you've never been here before, well, first of all, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. But second of all, I'll tell you a little bit about what we do here. Basically, we just write live. Whatever it is we want to write that week. My name is Rory, and I'm sorry for the little trouble there at the beginning. As soon as I went live with the stream, my computer completely blue screened and restarted. So Windows notwithstanding. By the way, if anyone feels so inclined to go to the Instagram posts on my behalf, because I'm not going to be able to do it right now, and put up this link in the comments for those posts, I'd appreciate it immensely. Okay, so what are we doing today? Well, we're doing a few things, but we're really only doing one thing collectively, and that is represented by... There we go. Just a little bit on the clippy side there. That is represented by a house here. Just put it right up to here. So I discovered this the other day. And sorry, there's some things I'm gonna have to reopen and such that I sort of did in a hurry there to get back. But we had to open. I opened up this website the other day that basically just manufactures houses for you, and it even gives you floor plans. So, for example. On this particular version of the house, if I can pull it up on my end here, on this particular version of the house, I can pull up a floor plan for it, and it'll show me a floor plan. And if I don't like this particular one, I can refresh it and make a bigger one and whatever else. Anyways, that is our house. This is actually not exactly the same house. Due to the restart, it reset a bunch of things about this because it's procedurally generated. I can't get back to the original. But the floor plan we're going to use actually for this particular activity that we're up to today is... Right. Well, it's somewhere. Where did it go? It seems to have disappeared. Oh, I know why it disappeared. Just a second. And I know this is very compelling, but unfortunately this is what happens when my thing shuts down. Give me just a second here. I will be right on it. I know what has happened. And it is a relatively simple fix. There we are. There we are. Okay, so if anyone is still here, which it's fair if you're not, we weren't on the spooky setting, so as a result, I didn't have everything here that I needed. And one of the things I wanted to show you, of course, where I was going, was to show you what the floor plan looked like. This is the floor plan that we're going to work with. Now, I could have done multiple stories. I highly doubt we're going to get through all of this. So here's the plan. Literally, this is the floor plan. No, here's the plan for today. This is the game that you and me, chat, are going to work together on. We want to figure out what's going on in each of these rooms. We want to be the menacing villain of the story, enough of being the soft little protagonist, the fragile, scared person. We are going to be the scary person and design a horror house that hopefully will be a little spooky. Now, if we do that, there is another layer to this, which I'm going to show you right now. I have been fiddling around with a program that is actually quite fascinating to me, called Twine. Twine allows you to create kind of choose your own adventure things. And I've been playing with it because I've been working on doing a bit of a certificate in video game writing, and that's choose your own adventure if you haven't put that together. But the program Twine allows you to do this. It allows you to take boxes and eventually connect them and make them as complex as you want to be. You double click on them and you can put text in. And then once you have your once you have worked out what each of those text boxes contains and their connections, it spits out a file that basically any web browser can use that looks like this. Well, I mean, it could look like a lot of things, but this is the simplest version of it. And it basically allows you to build text-based adventures. So just to show you how it works, you awaken a lobby. There are 3 doors. You see how these are clickable links. You take the red door to your left, you take the blue door to your right, take the green door in front of you, not your. So if we, for example, wanted to take the door to the left, spooky things are found. This is just a very simple demonstration of how it works. So, how do these things all link together? Well, we have ourselves a floor plan to our house that we want to make spooky. Then we want to take that floor plan, figure out what's going on at each of these letters in rooms, and then you can assemble it together into like a path you walk along. You come to another door, it's left or right. You can do some pretty powerful things with the program. I'm not very good with it. So that's kind of what I want to do. I want to see how far we get with it. Trying to create sort of a little haunted house. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm still not going out and seeing haunted houses. So I thought maybe together we could create a text-based adventure sort of haunted house tour. What do you feel about that, chat? Do you have ideas about haunted houses or stuff you would want to do? I am going to start us back with the Holly's House says it's like a Commodore 64 game. It is like a Commodore 64 game. I'm going to start us back with the text here for a bit, and I'm going to overlay it with the floor plan so that we can start working on what some of these rooms contain. Actually, well, it's going to make it kind of small. Let's just look at the floor plan for now. I will sort of keep some notes here, and we can swap back and forth between them as we need to. So Holly already has so many ideas for her murder house. So let me know, like, what ideas. I mean, what are the great murder houses of our time? Are they like, for me, the one I've already brought up is Haunting of Hill House. That house scares the hell out of me. But of course, that's not just about the house. Like, it takes place all over the place. There's on the gorier side, there's things like House of a Thousand Corpses and so on. So let's sort of start with a background. What's the background on this house? Why has the group of us decided that we want to put together a house that basically traps and torments people? Because that's what horror houses are. What menace? What is the cause of our menace? What is our psychosis here? Are we a scientist doing research? A group of scientists? Mad? Are we aliens? Are we simply ancient, undying vampires playing with our food? For myself, I'm gonna go for non-traditional haunted houses a lot of the time. Like, I kind of like when you're in... Because I feel like it's creepier to me when they're buildings that are around. Like, I know a friend of mine talked about how they used to walk around the abandoned asylum that we have near our place, which is huge. Just these tunnels that basically... He was walking around them because he was doing security to make sure no one was there. That is a creepy setting to me because those are real places and there's a lot of like legitimacy to it. I think the haunted house trope came about when those kinds of houses were common. They were very common, but they're not that common anymore. And I think there's kind of this old is creepy thing that I don't know that I have always felt. I will admit, if you've ever been in one of these old mansions, they are weird. So, well, chat has no ideas to the background, so let's see what I come up with on my own. Okay. So, our background then is... Chat, you're going to be a character in this. So, we are a group of... experimenters? I'm trying to think of like what gives us latitude. Problem with experimenters is it kind of hems us into a place where we can't have haunted stuff, right? Which would be, unfortunate. I mean, I guess we could just be a cult that needs bodies. Or we could be a group of supernatural or paranormal investigators. Holly's House says, like I said, H.H. Holmes, who constructed a purpose-built murder house to kill people during the rush of visitors to the Chicago World Fair. I do know that story. It is creepy. Okay. Okay, so here's what I think. Like, I don't want us to be H.H. Holmes, but maybe we sort of inherited the house, because that gives us a chance to have it haunted a bit. But we are setting it back up. What's our motivation? I guess to sate the blood god. We are a group of cultists looking to sate the thirst. Satiate? Doesn't like the word sate? Let's go with satiate then. Satiate the thirst of an elder god we drew forth from the void with the blood of innocence. Okay. Because some work was already done. I believe they tore down his home. I realized that. I also like that Holly's House works for H.H. Holmes. It adds to the creepiness of it. I believe that they burned the house down, but I guess what we could say is they bought the square of land. They acquired a square of land once occupied by H.H. Holmes' home. Murderous home. And presented it as a historical rebuild, maybe? How are we going to draw people in? You don't want to draw too many people in. But how are we going to draw people in here? Okay. Let's start with this. Room A. Well, actually, room A doesn't really make sense to start with. The letters don't really matter. What room do we want to start with here? I can zoom this in just a bit more. Might help some people out here. Try and get a sense of the floor size and shape. So it looks to me like I and J are probably the entrances. We're at the base floor here. And J... J looks like the best one. Like it looks like a kind of entranceway. So what's going on there? So imagine for a minute you entered J. You enter coat room. You enter a coat room that has old woodwork framed in new walls. Sorry about that. You enter a coat room that has old woodwork framed in new walls. I'm looking at J here. So that means you enter a coat room that has old woodwork framed in new walls. And you hang your coat up. You were invited here. You were invited here by a professional acquaintance. Nah. By a distant cousin. Who was trying to track or put together a family tree. Okay. GS says I watched a 40s movie about a guy who did that, probably based on him. Yeah, I would think so. It was around that era. Speaking again to H.H. Holmes. So in that floor plan, there's really only one entrance here that I see. Goes out to whatever H is. So what does a big hall like H look like? What do you think, guys? You're invited here by a distant cousin who was trying to put together a family tree. The door was unlocked, and there was a note indicating you should let yourself in. Has to be paintings of ancestors. Yeah, there's always old paintings, isn't there? So H is the big hall room. So we enter J. You enter a coat room that has old woodwork framed in new walls, and you hang your coat up. You were invited here by a distant cousin who was trying to put together a family tree. The door was unlocked, and there was a note indicating you should let yourself in. There is only one door. There are only two doors. Only two doors in the coat room. The one you just entered. And the one to a hall off to your left. What do you do? Leave. Go into the hall. Okay, so far, for room J, I have this little block of text. So let me show you how this turns into a choose your own adventure thing, just so you get the idea. So we go over to Twine here. I had my sample thing in here, but I'm not going to use that. I can center this a little better for you. So it does involve me doing some coding, so ignore the messiness of that. But I take our text that we just wrote, put this here, call this room J, and then I can go copy. You leave out the exit. That's our first option. You continue on into the main hall. And that is room H, I think it was. Let me double check. Yes. So now when I do that, I get these room H and Just gotta get rid of my old ones here. I got my room H and my leave option, right? So, again, you have this room. Here, let me center this again. And so, when we leave from room H, J, and go to room H, and just to remind you of, you know, this will be clickable and all that. Now we got to figure out what it looks like when you go to room H. And I see GS already has some of those things down. So, let's look at here. So we're having them go from J to room H. GS says has to have paintings of ancestors, long stone table in the foyer. I mean, does H count as the foyer? Sort of. Flickering wall sconces for lights, large urns flank the hall. Ooh, we're getting good stuff here. Okay, so for this big hall, room H here. Let's pull back up. Okay, so you walk into a large... Could probably bump the size of this text up a bit, make it a little easier for people to read. You walk into a large... You enter a large hall with a stone table stretching through it. It is lined on the walls with hollow-eyed men sporting old-fashioned and slicked black hair. There are urns of various eras, some stained by time and others fresh and fresh white ceramics. Ooh, note on the stone table suggesting where to go for refreshments. I think we need something that first indicates the problem here. Like, I feel like it can't just be... Like, we need something that indicates what's going on. That something's going to go wrong by this room. So, I'm thinking just a simple door shuts behind you and locks. Okay, so there are flickering old lights. Though you know this to be a recent construction, your cousin had mentioned Your cousin had mentioned it was... See, the problem with adding too much story stuff is, like, if you move back through it, it seems weird that it keeps telling you that. So there are flickering old lights, though you know this to be a recent construction. Your cousin had mentioned it was built with found old materials. The hull is notably cooler. So you'll see that H has a big opening to I, and then it has an exit to, and then to whatever this small room N is, and then another one G. It's got a lot of entrances and exits here. I think technically it actually has no way of getting out into the courtyard outside, but we'll just say that you can enter through... Oh, I see, through F. Okay. So there's several options here. The... the door to the coat room swings shut behind you, and a lock is heard clicking. There are several doors out of the room. There are several doors out of the room, and one conjoining room. So one of the nice things about this is we don't have to make a cohesive plot here. So if one of these rooms we want to make a murder room. So like Holly's house had some recommendations that I guess we can start working in now. Yeah, so like N, G, I would be harder, but I guess we could do something. This is where our creativity comes in and our malice. So there is an so there is a room to the north. There's a door to the north. There is a door to the north end of the hall. There is a door to the south end of the hall. There is a room with There's a door to the north end of the hall. There's a door to the south end of the hall. There's a room with some animal heads mounted on the walls. Off to the east side wall. Off to the east side of the room. There is a door to the west side. Okay, so then, just to show you again how this works, I have now room H. Can put everything we just wrote in there. And that is room N. And this is room G. And this is room I. And this is room F. And look at that. We have a whole bunch of new options now, right? Okay. So, murder room 1 is room N. Room N is a smaller room. Room N is a smaller room. So I'd like to get through these last few and do a couple of murder rooms. So, this is a strange sentence to be saying aloud. Okay, so, GS, you're talking about a shadow there. We can do a shadow. We can say in the prompt, like, which room, one room has a shadow to it. So maybe we could say that room N, here, you see a shadow go into that door. Because what I think could happen is if somebody wanted to lure somebody into that room, they can get out on the stairs there in room N. And if they did that, then room N, and I think we'll just use what Holly recommended there, it's a room that suffocates you. So I think that's our first murder room. So room N, let's add to the prompt then that you catch, here, I'll give you, it's hard to know what you want to look at here. I will put a tiny version of the floor plan up, but I think it's going to get a little obstructed no matter what I do and be too small to be helpful, but here we go. So you catch a shadow running out the north door. Which path will you take? Okay, so then the north door will be room N. And you enter a room with no features. It is plastic from top to bottom. Let me adjust that for you so you can see. Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. So GS says another room leer could be an odor, another could be an eerie sound or cry, another could be a bright light under a door, perhaps a strange color. All right, all right. Now we're cooking. Okay. So, let's talk about those prompts then, because that seems to be where we're at. So there's a north door to the north end of the hall. This was where the shadow ran. There was a door to the south end of the hall, which is another smaller one with a little exit out. That's room C. It's pretty far from where we walk in, so I don't think there'd be a smell emanating. I think the smell would have to emanate from room I there, which is just to the east. It has a smell of old leather and iron. The one at the south end of the hall, you're talking about one could emanate heat. I think the one at the south end of the hall, because it's so far away, I think that's a good one for the light. What color should the light be? What's a creepy color? Like if you were in a house, put yourself in the shoes of this person. If you were in a house and you saw a light under a door that you didn't think would be like normal, what color is that? What immediately tells you something's off, that it's not just a normal light? So there's a door to the south end of the hall. You can see a whatever color light emanating from underneath it. And there is a door to the west side. Lime green. Lime green's the greatest color of all time. Okay, a lime green light. Okay, so a lime green light emanating from underneath. And then there is a door to the west side. That's room F. I'm gonna say there's a whirring noise. There's a low whirring hum coming from there. Okay, so let's update our, let's just do this really quick. Update our little thing here. Just updating our prompts. That's what I get for getting too eager on them. So, whoopsies, don't do that. Okay. And I think my favorite horror like place that I can think of in my head is probably something that isn't even scary, like from my childhood or something. Like, I remember that building that the what's the name of it? The Three Witch movie from Disney. I remember that room they're in, that house they're in so well. Like, those are kind of things I remember. We added something here too. You catch a shadow running out the north door. It leaves it ajar, let's say. Leaves it ajar. Let's add that in. And okay. Now we've updated our prompts. The shadow ran into a room. That's the one I'm writing right now. And you enter a room with no features. It is plastic from top to bottom. As soon as you cross the threshold, the door ahead of you swings shut in unison with the door behind you. It is immediately clear that the room yeah, somebody always foolishly follows when the door is ajar. That's right, GS. It is immediately clear that the room is pressurized and sealed. You hear the whir of a fan. And as the pressure climbs, you become aware that a plastic layer is peeling off the wall in the negative pressure and shrinking in against your skin. Soon you are cocooned in plastic that tightens around you. You feel the air drawn from your lungs, and you are compressed in a bag. This is how you die. Okay. So we'll make N just like a hard death. Okay, and then room G, we said that was the door at the end of the hall with the lime green light. Okay, what is the lime green light then? So G is... Oh, that's not room G. Sorry, room C. What am I doing? Yeah, that's definitely room C. Room G is a completely different place, isn't it? No, wait. No, that's definitely G. I'm an idiot. GS says unless you have a pocket knife. Yeah, I think we could add complications later, but obviously we're already running out of time. We've done like 3 rooms, so I'd like to do at least 2, and then we can see what we created, and then we'll call it a day. The room G. It's gotten small on me again. Yeah, it has to refer to my original theme. You pull open the door slowly. Now keep in mind, people are coming from the main hall to this, so they may or may not know that there's some menacing rooms already. You pull the door open slowly, and let's say there's a chain holding it closed from inside. You can only catch a glimpse through the cracks, the crack of the door from the frame. Crack of the door through from the frame. You swear you can see screens, maybe monitors. Something pulls back against the door and slams it shut. And then there has to be options. So return to hall. Try the door again. Okay. And I will punch this in. I think this might be all we can do. Honestly, I don't know where the time went. Well, I guess some of it was me screwing things up. Return to hall. That was room H. Okay. So, what that looks like then is right here. And then if I click on this thing here, let me get rid of the floor plan there. We can, let me pull that down just a bit. We can look at what we made. So, you enter a coat room that has old woodwork framed in new walls, and you hang your coat up. You were invited here by a distant cousin who was trying to put together a family tree. The door was unlocked, and there was a note indicating you should let yourself in. There are only 2 doors in the coat room. The one you just entered and the one to a hall off to your left. What do? You leave out the exit, you continue into the main hall. You enter a hall with a stone table stretching through it. It is lined on the walls with the walls are lined is what it should say. The walls are lined with hollow-eyed men sporting old-fashioned and slicked-back hair. There are urns of various eras, some stained by time and others fresh white ceramic pots. There are flickering old lights, though you know this to be recent construction. Your cousin had mentioned it was built with old materials. The hall is notably... The hall is notably cooler. The door to the courtroom swings shut behind you and a lock is heard clicking. There are several doors out of the room and one conjoining room. You catch a shadow running out the north door. It leaves it ajar. Which path will you take? And then we have our options. There is a door to the north end of the hall. This was where the shadow ran. There's a door to the south end of the hall. You can see a lime green light emanating from underneath it. And there is a room with some animal heads mounted off on the walls off to the east side room. It has a strong smell of old leather and iron. And there is a door to the west side. There's a low whirring hum coming from there. And then when you click on... We've only done 2 of these, so... if we clicked, let's say, the south end of the hall, you can see a lime green light emanating from underneath it. It will say... Whoop. You pull open the door slowly, and there's a chain holding it closed from inside. You can only catch a glimpse from the crack of the door from the frame. You swear you can see screens, maybe monitors. Something pulls back against the door and slams it shut. And then we have this option to return to the hall or try the door again. Which, I don't know, we could say maybe they could bust it open or something. But if I return to the hall, I can then take that door. There's a door to the north end of the hall. This is where the shadow ran. You enter a room with no features. It is plastic from top to bottom. As soon as you cross the threshold, the door ahead of you swings shut in unison with the door behind you. It is immediately clear that the room is pressurized and sealed. You hear the whir of a fan, and as the pressure climbs, you become aware that a plastic layer is peeling off the wall in the negative pressure and shrinking in against your skin. Soon you are cocooned in plastic that tightens around you. You feel the air drawn from your lungs, and you are compressed in a bag. This is how you die. And then it even gives us an option to go back if the person wants to. But yeah, there you go. Well, we did a couple of rooms of haunted house. That was the goal. So I'm happy that we got those done. If you are wondering, if you're somebody who follows on Instagram, if you're wondering where is Avalon, Avalon unfortunately got held up at work and would not have been here until like now. So she sends her apologies because that was not her intention, of course, to not show up. She was actually kind of looking forward to this. And let me put us back to this. And put us back to this. And there we go. That is the Varietal show. I thank you very much for you guys coming by and saying hello. I don't know, like, let me know in chat what you guys want to see for the last week of Halloween. If you want to see more of that. In terms of the story we worked on, by the way, I just have it off to an editor. The story that we've been working on for the last 2 weeks. I'm going to finish it up and I'm going to read it. And I will send out a pre-recorded reading. I might actually finish this too and release it so that, or maybe next week if I can get it done, we can go through it together. You guys in chat, let me know if you want to go through a haunted house together, because that'll be the sort of the last week before Halloween. Other than that, thank you so much for the people who came by. And if you're watching this later, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you guys haven't liked and subscribed. It's the best thing in the world to do. It feels so good. You hit that subscribe button and my God, your day looks up, but your life looks up. But also the like button gives you just an amazing rush of dopamine to hit the like button. That is a science fact. And yeah, and then we will yeah, that'll be it. That's all I really have to say. So thank you so much, guys, for coming by and hanging out in the shop. But the shop is closed, so get out.